Hi GameSpot viewers, it's Kevin Van Ort here, and I'm sitting with producer Sharif Fatu, who is working, of course, on Dead Space 3. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we're looking at Dead Space 3 right now. Why don't you give us a quick update on what has happened to lead to this particular point in Dead Space 3?
So where we're picking things up here, Isaac has kind of come with this crew to rescue Ellie. So if fans from the previous Dead Space games know, Ellie was someone that you met in Dead Space 2 for the first time, and at this point, there's been a relationship that they had, a romantic relationship between Isaac and Ellie, and you'll learn more about that throughout the course of Dead Space 3. But right now, you've kind of flown into this deep corner of the galaxy that's relatively unexplored. There was kind of a mission here several hundred years ago that you also will learn more about as the game goes on. But Ellie has basically traveled here with her own team to kind of understand more about the markers and kind of figure out a way to stop them. But you've lost contact with her. No one knows where she is, and you and a crew have kind of begrudgingly gotten together to attempt this rescue mission. So where we find things here, we're on the SS Roanoke, which is this kind of derelict ship, and you've picked up Ellie's a signal from her communications icon, or I forgot what the exact fictional term is, but basically there's a communication signal that she has that you've picked up, and you're on your way to kind of identify that and try to meet up with her.
Well, let's move forward and see what happens.
Cool. You've just entered the ship.
And of course, right from the beginning, we see just how Dead Spacey Dead Space 3 is. Obviously, some folks may have been concerned when they saw the E3 demo, how Dead Spacey is Dead Space 3 going to be, and I think this is a pretty good answer to that question when we first start out. Some good use of stasis right from the beginning here. Ouch.
Nice little impalement action. One of my favorites.
Bravo. What is it? What's going on?
I just got jumped by what's left of the crew.
What? No.
Now, if you are a Dead Space veteran, coming into Dead Space 3, is there anything that you might immediately notice in terms of how Dead Space 3 differs from its predecessors?
Well, right off the bat, I mean, one of the key things is some of the weapons that you have. You'll start off with this MAC-10, which is kind of a military-type weapon. But you will, and we have a whole weapon crafting system that will open up as the game progresses. But immediately you're kind of used to seeing, there's some different weapons that you haven't seen before that I think a lot of players will I think find refreshing. That, okay, so I have kind of my old favorites, and now I have all these brand new toys that I can play with. And as the weapon crafting kind of opens up, you'll see how many more options you'll have to blast away those necromorphs. Some weapons aren't as effective as others, depending on the necromorph that you're fighting. I'm a big fan of the TK impalement. Then sometimes you got to bring out the big guns.
Now, with the weapon customization that's coming into Dead Space 3, just how powerful and just how unique are some of those weapons going to be?
Well, the combinations are really, almost endless. So you have, once you kind of get into the bench and, you see how that works, there's so many different combinations that you can make with bottom and top attachments and circuits and upgrades that you can do. So you can really craft whatever it is that you want. So, one of my favorites, which is a thing that we call Hot Death, which is a ripper blade on the top and a flamethrower on the bottom, and you can kind of upgrade that with an electrical charge as well and stasis coating, so it becomes a really cool weapon that you can kind of eviscerate the necromorphs with. But everything is tuned, very carefully, so there's nothing that's really game-breaking you know, it's still going to be very challenging to fight off the necromorphs, but it's really more about how you want to play it and how, you know, what your kind of gameplay style is, as far as like, do you want a rapid fire weapon that can kind of cause knockbacks and stun the enemies a little bit so it gives you more time to breathe? Do you want a heavier weapon that does more damage, that requires a little bit more charge time, and if you miss, you know, the penalties for that are pretty severe. So it's really up to the player, and you know, that's the beauty of the customization.
Well, sadly, EA has limited us to a very, very short period of time that we got a chance to have you talk about the game while you play it. But I do want to thank you, Sharif, for giving us a chance to see some Dead Space 3 in action, for helping reassure some folks maybe that Dead Space 3 is indeed very Dead Spacey. And until next time, thanks GameSpot readers and GameSpot viewers. This is Kevin Van Ord, and we'll check in with you real soon.
Thank you.